what is going on? Like, I just was live the other day. I was just live at midnight here, 5 o'clock on Sunday, and then now I'm back again. And I think that my glasses are okay. I think they're crooked, and I can't quite tell. Like, I can see fine, but I feel like my glasses are crooked or my head is crooked. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna work with it. Yeah, we're gonna work with it. Okay. Anyways, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. So today, I am actually have some plans, and I'll tell you about it later on. So we're going to do a pre-recording. We're not going to do the live today, but you know what? I think that you guys will still get all of the great benefits and insight and entertainment as usual. So I am Yolanda, and I am locating cozy, and this is a broad chat. So here we talk about everything. I like to now do interviews where I get to get insight from other, usually Black women that are doing their own thing and hopefully encouraging you to make that move and do things to make you happy. How about that? So today I actually have a wonderful guest that's going to be coming on in just a second. And I just want to first make sure that I say, before we do anything else, please do make sure that you do like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Okay. And so then you'll know whenever I am going live or whenever I'm going to do an upload of a video or a vlog, and you'll get a notification. So please do that, okay? And make sure you like this video too, okay? All right. So today I have with me Miss Monica, okay? And Monica, we've been kind of in the same circle here in, excuse me, well, while I was in Texas. And now I'm in Spain, and Monica's in Texas, but she's doing just amazing things. And what I did was I sent out an invite to people who not just were already gone, they not necessarily have already left the States, but they're on their own journey. And so I wanted to talk with Black women that are, you know what, they have their own journey and have a lot to share and a lot of insight. And so I wanted to welcome Monica. Hello.
Hello. So glad to be here.
And so how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a good morning so far for me, and yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the day cruising on through.
Okay, okay. And so yeah, it's been kind of a well, in my home, it's been a little bit crazy. I've had a couple of appliances like not want to act right, but everything is good. But I do like to share, like, I guess, what's going on in my world. And well, what's going on in my world is basically, again, I'm having some appliance issues going on. So we have a front load washer, and it just stopped in mid cycle and would not open. The door wouldn't open, and we did all kinds of tried to analyze or triage the situation, as some might say, to assess like what needs to happen. And the bottom line is, we didn't know what we were doing. Okay, so we didn't know what we were doing. So yeah, finally, I have a wonderful, wonderful landlord. I have to say this. And when I sent her a message last night, she was over here like her brother came over last night to try to, because he lives on the fourth floor and I live on the seventh floor. So the brother came over last night trying to fix the washing machine. That didn't work, and so she got technicians out today. And yes, anyways, everything is fine. I go with the flow. And the clothes that were in the washing machine that was stuck in there, they're out. I don't know. They're not mildewed or anything yet, but they're out there. So they're out now. They weren't my clothes. They were my tenant's clothes, or my temporary roommate's clothes. Anyways, what's going on in your world?
Oh my goodness. I am working still, very much engaged in the 9 to 5. And so just trying to keep up with new projects coming at us left and right. It's a little hair raising sometimes, but it's a great problem to have. The job needs me. The company is growing. I'm not worried about layoffs at inconvenient points. And so, just kind of cruising through the everyday of keeping that going and being able to save the money that comes through that paycheck, right? There's some people who are struggling with toxic situations. I feel very
Mm,
fortunate that the only challenge here is the challenge of the work itself. And that's a
wow.
wonderful place to be in. Yeah.
and that's the reality is not everybody has such a that's a great environment to be in. Not everybody is so blessed to have that situation, and they're trying their damnedest to get out of that toxic environment. And so, yes,
Yes.
it was for working for a company that shows you respect and gives you that opportunity to feel good about what you're doing for their company.
Right.
Okay.
That is it. I so appreciate, that it's one of the things that makes me hesitant to move too soon.
Hmm.
I'm in a good environment. I'm working with good people. I'm working on good projects, and I'm getting paid good money for it.
Okay.
So I you know, the enemy of the great is the good, in a sense, right? When something is good, you hesitate to jump in away from it, right?
Yeah.
And so part of my progress in this journey about moving abroad and going around to see the world is that it does mean at some point I'm going to have to leave this good thing. But
Hmm.
the the response to that challenge is to remember that I'm aiming at something greater. And so
And I
it's a
remember
blessing to be there. It's such a blessing to be in that state.
that is so cool. I remember years ago, um, when I had decided, because I kind of kept at that mindset that I will work for a company and I do my own kind of self-assessment. Now, I have longevity at many previous employers, but
Mhm.
I had a beautiful work experience, like what you're speaking of years ago. This was like back in the late 90s, early 2000s or whatever. But I worked for a company and everybody, it just felt like family. They were paying crap back then. I recognize that. But overall, the company itself, it was a good vibe all the way around. And I remember when I went on after leaving that job and going to another job that was absolutely horrid. I remember when I did interviews later on with other companies, I told them, I said, my best job was at said company, a company. If
Right.
I don't feel like I have the potential to have a great work environment and growth like I felt like I had there, I said, I won't stay. And I was very honest. And I can't tell you how many times that got me a nice little offer just to
Really.
say, I won't stay if I feel like the environment is not right for me.
Wow. That's
And
that's a
so,
great interview technique. I think,
yeah,
not so much technique, but just an approach to when they
yeah,
say, do you have any other questions for us? It's like, yeah, well, not a question, but a statement. I need you to know
yeah.
this.
Yeah, and
That's
and
awesome.
don't I'm not because it's all about the delivery. Okay, so
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying to say this and stuff because they might just stand and be like, "Get out my office." Okay.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah, it's not about being obnoxious or sort of predicting
Yeah.
trouble, but just letting them know that matters to you, right? It
Yeah, I've had
matters.
a great work environment before, and I know what that looks like. So if I feel
Right.
like I can't get something so similarly close, I mean, I know that we can never recreate, complete,
Yes.
like duplicate, but
Mhm.
I remember that feeling of accomplishment and feeling good about coming to that job every day.
Right.
And I would like to replicate that. That's what I was going for. So
Yeah.
a lot of companies did respect my honesty about that. So yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also by that time, I was, like, maybe on, like, the 2nd or 3rd like, I was on the final interview phase. I didn't, like, say that, like, when I first on the first
First,
interview.
yeah, first in the door. You're not even talking to the hiring manager yet. You're
Like,
right.
"Let me tell you what I'm not gonna do."
A little
Okay.
a little discernment goes a long way, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, also, what I love to do, I like to ask, so if you're watching this in the future, and you will because we're doing the recording one day early, but how are you locating your cozy? I always like to ask this question because I want you to stop and think about what are you doing to make yourself happy? What are you doing to put yourself in a situation and an environment that's more fulfilling than maybe where you're at right now? So, how are you locating your cozy? For me, right now, I'm locating my cozy by not doing a live tomorrow. Why? Because I am going to an Internations meeting. And Internations is basically a worldwide organization, and they have chapters all over for expats, immigrants that are not in their home country that want to communicate and just have some way of socializing. So I did join the Zaragoza chapter, and they have a standing Wednesday meeting, happy hour at this local restaurant, and I can never make it because I do my lives on Wednesday, and their gathering starts at like 8. And by the time I finish my live, I don't want to go out because they're like the guy that runs it. He's like, "Well, we'll be here until 10." I'm like, "I don't want to go out after I finish my live." So I am locating my cozy by doing a pre-record for tomorrow for Wednesday, and I'm going to go out and go meet other expats, other immigrants here in Spain that are living here in Zaragoza. Ah,
Yeah.
how are you locating your cozy? What have you done for yourself lately?
You know, it's been a bit of self-care. I finally made myself go back out and take walks around my neighborhood. I live in a very pretty
Oh,
part of town, but I injured my foot back in the late spring. And so, and I go to a dance studio once a week, and I thought, I need to rest my foot through the week. And, if I'm going to challenge it, just challenge it to get through a rehearsal, right? If we're going to do a little show here or there around town, I need to be able to do that. So let me rest it and not challenge it too much, because I had what I thought was a slight fracture. Turns out I was right, but of course I did not do the self-care of going to get the X-ray because I didn't want to pay the expense. Then just be told what I already knew, which was rest the foot, right?
yeah.
Well, eh, I lose a lot when I don't walk, right? We
Mhm.
all lose mobility. It just the joy of having a little bit of more fresh air than just what gets stale in my house. The exposure to sunlight. I mean, just some vitamin D, please.
Yeah.
Just the brightness of being out in nature for a few minutes, even breaking up my workday. All of those things I was losing by making that decision to not go out on walks. And my poor dog. It's like he has given a name to every blade of grass in the backyard because he has not gone anywhere else for so long.
Oh, oh.
So, I started taking that walk again, because my foot's better and I'm happier. The dog is happier. There's just so much benefit out of that. And it's like, oh, I used to call this my gratitude walk. And let me tell
Oh,
you, just taking
wow.
the walk is a point of gratitude already. It's been great.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yes. I have not been walking I have an excuse. I wasn't walking in the past 2 weeks because I, slipped and fell in my house and, because the comfy socks are not comfy when they don't have the traction on the bottom. And so I wasn't able to walk. Now I'm feeling 99% better, but then and I wasn't walking, but I have no car here. So, I walk like, sometimes I can walk like 2 or 3 miles easily, and that's not considered exercise for me. That's just a day, and it's cool, and I'm fine with that.
Wow.
I don't want to take the tram necessarily, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. So I tell you what, because we are on a very on a time crunch today, because Monica has graciously said she'll come in for a very specific time, but then she has to go back to work. Okay, so we're gonna stay focused, and it actually might be a little bit easier just because it's not live. We won't have the live comments that I always
Right.
want to go and read and check out and stuff. So yes, here we are. So Monica, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I am a New Orleans native. Been living in Texas, oh gosh, since 1990 or so. And that was a real benefit during Katrina. I was far enough away from weather mayhem to be able to help my family out, make, hotel reservations before they could get,
Mhm.
say, just aim for Shreveport. You're going to, I have a hotel ready for you and that kind of thing. So that was really helpful. And now I do have family members that have settled up in this area.
Mhm.
Um, Went to school out in California and in Wisconsin. Ended up a little more time in Southern California after finishing school. Stayed with a friend. We shared a condo. That was really cool. And then moved to Texas. And that brought me closer to my family without putting me right in their laps.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's been workable. I can either drive or fly. It's nice to have the choice when I want to get home and see family. And yeah, just been kind of trucking through life. You know, I have my home, have my pets, no children on purpose. You know, I'm
You gotta
just, I,
justify. It's like,
right. Yeah. You
like
know, it's just,
I have none. And what's your point? Okay.
yeah. Exactly. I have pets, not children. I'm one of those people who it really matters to me not to pretend that my pets are my children, right?
Hmm.
They are animals, and I respect what they are as, you know, a dog, as a cat,
Yeah.
and try to fulfill those needs rather than just kind of counting them fulfilling some, you know, emotional need that I have because I don't have children or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's an interesting balance, and I appreciate other people who maintain that respect for the creatures around us.
Yes.
Um, and that's one of the things that got me interested in traveling abroad. Not so much the interest in travel. I got that from my mother and her father, but
Mhm.
the idea of house sitting, boy, that really piqued my interest because I've always enjoyed animals. It's like, okay, maybe I could try that.
So
So,
which came first? Were you introduced to pet sitting before you found out about the community of, say, Exodus Summit, or what brought you to a community of Black women like doing their own thing, or to, that was where that was their goal, just to be happy without a
right.
problem.
Life of ease,
Yes.
however you define it. Right. You know, I think I simply stumbled. YouTube is what did it. YouTube threw something in my path, and and I clicked on it, and then I clicked on some other related link, and then all of a sudden I was coming across something called Exodus Summit, and I think that I'm struggling to remember precisely, but Halisi and Rick's Our Black Utopia, just that
Mhm.
language caught my attention. It's like, well, what is that about? And then back and forth. And I had a commitment for that month that made me feel intimidated about checking into Exodus Summit and actually attending that year. That was in
Mhm.
22. And so,
Okay,
but
same time.
I
Yeah.
really, that's awesome. And so I picked up on anyway. Halisi and Rick had an offer after that. They did their very first Beyond the Bling um,
Okay.
workshop that week. And I thought, yeah, I need to get my finances together. I need to have a sense of where I am. Just not even thinking about going abroad. But still that Exodus Summit thing was kind of in the echo in the background. And so when I had a one-on-one with them after that week, oh, Halisi just dotted me right between the eyes and said, "What do you mean? You heard about it? You had some inkling something was going on, and you didn't sign up? What? Like, answer me. Like, what was your problem?" Like, like
Alicia.
I was intimidated. I confess, But then I went. I did go. I had bought the replays. And I
Okay.
was fascinated. So, and this is after the week with Khaleesi and Rick, and then I start watching the Exodus Summit replays, and I go, "Wow, this is amazing." These people are talking about a kind of life that, I mean, I had put blinders on. I had no idea that even though my mother's friend had retired to Mexico and
Mhm.
invited us to visit him in Mexico. And we went. He told us what hotel to go to. He took us all. He was our day trip tour guide the whole time we were there, had dinner. They talked about growing up together and working together and what his life was like. It never occurred to me that I could do something like that. It just
Mhm.
blinders. So 20 years later, here I am, and I'm going, Black women? You mean like me? I could do this?
Mhm.
Lord have mercy. That was it. I was into everything. And
Just like me, just like me. I was like, I'm a house sit. I'm gonna give up my apartment. I'm just gonna just like pet sit full time, and then coup de grace, I'm moving out the country.
there you
Okay.
go. Right. You just listen, girl, you wasted no time. Me, I'm all about dawdling. I'm all about wondering why it won't work for me, as opposed to how can it work for me? right?
Oh,
Hearing
wow. Okay.
that language.
Say that again. I'm sorry, because somebody out here needs to hear that.
Yes.
Okay.
I am one of those people through, whatever life circumstances, I got used to looking at glittery, shiny opportunities and saying, that's not going to work for me. Instead of saying, wow, that's amazing. How can I make that work for me? How can
Mhm.
I make that work for me? I don't know how, but I'm not going to declare that it can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. And so that mind shift right there, just realizing that I had adopted the stance of declaring that's wonderful for you. I can celebrate that for you, but I cannot even consider it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, why am
Outside
I?
looking in, just like,
Yes.
oh, look what they doing. Oh,
Yeah. And
they
telling
got the
myself, I
beauty
need to be
line.
happy with that. Right. And it's great that I can celebrate what you have and what you're doing. There are people who can't. Right.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about you go, y'all. Wish I could. Love to
Yeah.
join you,
It's a
but
nice little
never
pipe
think.
dream. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like watching Exodus Summit that year gave me the idea, holy cow, how did I get this far through my life and not realize that I could be asking myself, how can I make this possible? How can I at least get close to it? How can I approach it? How can I take one step in that direction? Mm, liberation.
Yep.
That mindset is liberation right there.
It's amazing. Like you don't know until you know.
Yes.
And so again, like I think you were about on the same time that I actually discovered Exodus Summit. What did you put in when you put in for YouTube when you did the first YouTube search?
Um, I don't know. I don't know what YouTube. Oop, I messed up my camera here. I bumped my
Okay.
laptop and all that. And I'm gonna get myself a little bit reset. Here we go. Um, I don't know what brought it up. I don't know what made it jump. I think I may have found a Black content creator and
Hmm.
then followed some of their stuff, and that linked to another Black content creator, and all of a sudden YouTube said, hey, she's interested in Black content. All right. And then stuff started coming up and Exodus Summit was in the mix. So
So I still remember to this day exactly what I put in because Spain
ooh,
was not, even though my daughter lived here, Spain
uh-huh.
was not on my radar. I had put in Black woman expat Mexico. That's exactly what
Really?
I put in. Yeah. And then all these people came up and I was like, who are these? Who
Wow.
this? Okay. Who this, Harpo?
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'll never forget that. So the focus of today's topic is basically the slow travel dreams, house sitting and slow travel dreams, and
Mhm.
deciding which journey works best for you. What do you think? So just because you see somebody doing something a certain way doesn't mean that that's the path that you have to take. It's also a fact that if you go someplace and then you don't like it, you can leave. Okay. You can leave.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
don't
Yes.
have to stay.
There is no stuckness here. Um,
Yes.
mhm.
So the
It's
thing is, I
interesting.
would say give it some time. I would say please don't, go someplace and be like, a week or two later, be like, I don't like this place.
Yeah. Give it a
Give it a
minute.
little time. Yeah, give
Yeah.
it a little time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My hope is to it's a big world. It is a big wide world. And I have not had the opportunity to take more than, you get 10 days off. That's it. Right?
Mhm.
In the working world. I have not had time to just go and be someplace and get a feel for how life in that place changes the way you think about life or think about
Mhm.
work or think about friendship or think about anything, right? um, and that's what I want to discover. I want to get to a place where I can settle someplace long enough to feel how that culture thinks, feels, acts about what life is for, what work is for, about friendship, about exploration, about
Yeah.
family, about anything, right? All the unconscious things that drive our behavior, right? We're driven to explore. Why? Because of boredom or because of curiosity. All
Mhm.
those things. I want to exercise those parts of my personality. And you can't. It's difficult to do that if you are constantly surrounded by all the same things all the same time. You have to
Yeah.
have different input one way or another. Reading is a great way to get input from, I mean, reading is time travel, seriously, as well as location travel, right? And you can get a lot of great input that way, but I want experience input and challenge myself to
It's
discover
like a whole
what are the
self
more
immersion.
yeah. What are some other ways that I'm locked in and using blinders on how I can see the world, how I could see life, how I could see myself, my own opportunities, my own capabilities, right? Just that one awakening with Exodus Summit that I could shift from thinking everybody's doing wonderful things and I could admire that and appreciate that and enjoy it at a distance, but I can't have it.
Mhm.
Ooh, I certainly can have my version of it if I think about how to make my version happen. Well, what other ways am I limiting myself? I don't know until I go someplace else, experience some other kind of input, right? And
Yes.
I, it was an accident. They brought me to that revelation through Exodus Summit, right? Just happenstance of the algorithm. I don't have to wait for happenstance. I can go put myself in a new environment and let that new environment challenge me and see what comes of it, what grows in me out of
Yes.
that experience. And then I can try another new environment and another new environment and just keep exploring and growing myself in all those new contexts. And that's really what I want to do.
Well, this is amazing. This is amazing. So first, let me just ask, what was the appeal of? Because I know, how long have you been house sitting now?
I've only been house sitting since August of this year, so it's been just 2 or 3 months.
Okay. And what was the appeal? What kind of like made you go, I think I want to check that out?
Oh, the cost savings.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
reality.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I'm busy piling in money for retirement, right? I do not. I'm like a lot of us. I have some money set aside for retirement, but it's nowhere near enough to carry me
Yeah.
through a long old age. And I come from people who, I mean, if you don't die from some accident or some serious illness, I'm going to hit 90. I'm getting close. And so I'm trying to sock away money and save money while I plan all of this expense of travel because it's expensive. You got to get there. It's, 150, $200 a night to stay places, and then I hear about house sitting and it's like, whoa, that takes off a huge chunk of money from
It's,
travel.
I cannot express enough. Okay. I think like the membership is like 200 for premium was $259 a
Hmm.
year. And I can go anywhere and wherever I want to go, I can actually do the research and maybe find a pet sit where I don't have to actually pay for an Airbnb or get a hotel that
Yeah.
now at minimum $200 a night, at minimum $200 a night, and Airbnb is going up. And it's so funny because sometimes I've seen people post in different groups, whether it's a pet sitting group, that they're just like a Facebook group. I joined a couple of Facebook groups just to see, and people are
Hmm.
like, I'm not paying all that money just to stay at somebody's house for free. Do you not? $259 a year pay for itself. I mean, that membership paid
That's
for
that's
itself
one or two
for
nights. That's
yes,
what you get 2 nights and you have recouped your money.
it's done and done. And on
Done and
top of
done.
that,
Yes.
because I've seen, and everybody has their own journey. I get that, but I went to the Facebook groups or whatever that are for house sitting, and kudos to you. But I actually like the fact that there's like this vetting and little background check that's done
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
make sure that this is the person, and you can actually look at the house and and see the previous reviews, because I've seen some horror stories of people coming in to
Yes.
situations through some social media groups or some yeah, like Facebook groups,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my goodness, I did not expect this, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's
Okay.
it. You
I it is, and as we say this, I'm gonna go on and pop my code. It's in the description, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop my
Yeah.
code in here
Yeah.
for trusted house sitters. Check it out. And but again, that was like, yeah, the saving the money. I literally, anybody that knows me, I literally last year gave up my $2,000 a month apartment and decided that I was going to be pet sitting around the US, mainly in Texas, um, until I figured out what else I was gonna do. That
Wow.
was it. And so I was no longer paying $2,000 a month for a year and a half.
Wow.
And all I had
Wow.
to pay was $259 for 1 year membership.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. Wow, that's amazing. So you were able to save some bank
Hmm.
across that period of time. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Now, with
That's
that, you do have to be very diligent. I always say you have to be one that sits down and knows how to work some logistics. And also, I did have like, I set aside, I guess a little like budget. I'll say I can set aside. I budgeted for $500 a month for incidentals in between pet sits if my best friend or my oldest daughter, um, I couldn't get to their house or something like that.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I did plan, but yeah, $259, and I'm not paying
It's
$2,000
worth
a month
it.
in rent anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
just do the math. Can you do that math? Because if you cannot do that math, talk to me.
And so
Talk to me
yes,
about
I
get some
can help you
education.
understand this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you did it, and so you decided to do the pet sitting, and your first time
Yes.
you said was in August.
Yeah, my first house sit was local, and I took that recommendation, do something close to home, and
Mhm.
it was it was a neat experience. It was a challenge. The cat got out.
Oh yes, I remember. Yes.
That the cat got out, and it's like, oh my God. So it was painful trying to get through walking around that a neighborhood where I am unknown.
Hmm.
I'm peeking. I am crawling up under people's shrubberies looking for this cat. And somebody came to their door, and I said, oh, "Thank God you're home." You're right, because I had tried to ring the bell and didn't get any response. Well, they're looking at their Ring camera, going, "I don't know this person. I don't need to answer that door. Just
Yeah. And then you
they'll
started
go away."
lurking.
Yeah, well, then I'm looking through the shrubberies because anybody who's not home, it's like, look, I got to find this cat. And the cat doesn't know me to come to me. So
Oh
I
wow.
have to
Yeah.
get close enough to see in the shadows, is that cat there? And somebody comes out and says, "You need to be careful. You're on everybody's Ring camera." And I said, "Good, that is me. So you do recognize me. That's me. I am looking for your neighbor's cat. You've seen her post on next door. Well, I'm looking for," and they're going, "You need to be careful." I was like, what part of helping your neighbor here is not registering? So it was like, that was a little bit
Like,
of an
like, I
experience.
have the receipts. I'm telling you to go on your next door nap. You know that you be on there all the time. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's like, so whatever. The neighbors were not helpful. They were much more willing to be skeptical of my presence
Yeah.
than anything else. And how many times do you have people crawling up in your shrubberies and peeking in your backyard? I mean, I get it, but the
At the time,
explanation of,
yeah.
your
You
neighbor's
were like
cat's
desperate at
missing.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm desperate.
Because I don't know. I mean,
It's like, help me out. Don't criticize me. But, so I had to
but
get through that. But
especially
that's
in
not,
Texas, yeah.
yeah. You know what? It's not the homeowner's fault, right? I was able to work with the homeowners. We worked it out. The cat came back all on her own, wondering what the hullabaloo was about. I
Oh yeah.
just been out. It's okay. I'm back. So she
Yeah.
was fine.
That's usually what happens with cats, anyways. They're like, I have an appointment.
Yes, they have
I
business.
will be back. I don't know if I'll be back by dinner, or I might just feel like staying out all night. We'll
Might
see.
be. Yeah. Yeah. It was something else. That cat was gone for most of the week that I was house sitting.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
5 or 6 days. Yeah. Yeah. So that was, the come back later tonight or come back tomorrow, it's like, she'll be back, she'll be back. But like the next day and then the next day goes by. So, that kind of thing can happen. And that was a tough first experience. But the point was I was able to work with the homeowner, get through that experience and come out with a very positive review and being able to give a positive review. So that was
Okay.
really nice. And then my next house sit was when I took a trip to go visit my father, and
Oh,
that was good. The dogs were nice and all that kind of thing. The family was nice. However, I want to make sure that I get house sits that are close enough to specific destinations if I have a specific reason to be there. That house sit was too far away from dad. The timing was great, the location was bad.
okay.
I spent way too much time on the highway just driving between, his place and their place and his place and their place to take care of the dogs midday and then going back at night. It was just too far. There is such a thing as too far away from your purpose.
So
If you have
was
a purpose.
your, and not without giving details, where your dad stays, is it more rural? Is it in the city?
It was all urban, right? All
Okay.
these are all the big suburbs around Phoenix.
Okay.
You got Mesa, you got Chandler, you got Gilbert, you got all these, all this stuff. And so it's not that one was rural, it's just that that metropolitan area is very large. It was maybe 20 miles between, and
Oh,
lots of commuter traffic in between. So
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna just jump a little bit here because I know that we're on time here, but I wanted to find out, in your vision, first of all, what are some of the possible places that you would consider, like doing some long-term or immersive experiences? What, is there any particular countries that interest you?
Yes, yes. I am really interested in Mexico in large part because it's close enough for me to get quickly back into the US to visit my dad. If he's elderly, right? He may
Mhm.
need care. I may get a call at some point saying, "Hey, this is your dad's housekeeper and he has fallen and I'm calling the medics." The place where he lives, they've already got the EMTs on the way. The ambulance is going to take him to a hospital. You just need to know, right? Maybe I need to get up there real quick. So I don't want to go too far away. So Mexico is definitely top on list. And I really enjoyed a recent visit to the Chapala area. And
Okay.
that community is so welcoming and they're just so tight. And I had a wonderful experience just visiting, even for just a few days. I would love to park myself there for a month, 6 months, a year, and just let that be my introduction to life abroad. But there's other parts of Mexico I want to visit too. And then there's Thailand. And then there's, Portugal, Spain. I want to hit,
Okay. So
Italy.
you want to bop. You want to
Yeah,
bop.
I want to bop
So
around.
your bopping preference would be like maybe to be 2 to 3 months in one area, maybe a year, or do you think maybe so? And let me preface by saying this: I now live in Zaragoza, Spain. This is my home base now. But with the situation, because have a nice place that is very economical, very budget friendly for me, I still want to go some other places. Like I want to go back to Mexico next summer, possibly, and stay there and do some pet sits for like 2 or 3 months. Um, so would you maybe like to have a home base in one of the other countries that allows you to go bop around in other places? Or do you just want to
Yes.
like live out your suitcase?
No, no. I think I want a home base, a place where I can plant and that I can get familiar enough with that it is restful to me instead
Okay.
of everything new all the time. And so, yeah, and that's something that I may do. The Chapala area may be that home base, but there are other parts of Mexico that I still have never visited. It may be that, like, I could visit, I don't know, Puebla or Puerto Vallarta or something like that,
Mhm.
and find, oh my gosh, this really feels like home, and
Yeah.
want and make that my base. But I think somewhere in Mexico is where I'm going to end up having a home base, just because there's
Okay.
so much of that country that I would like to see. And so easy bops around, or day trips and things like that, are part of what I'm looking forward to. But yeah. So I think, I'll probably keep my home in the US and rent it out, but I think I want my actual personal home base to be somewhere in Mexico, where I have a long-term lease on an apartment. That's where I always come back to after I've taken a trip 2 or 3 months someplace else. If I'm not chaining different countries together, if I want to like return to a peaceful home base, I think it's going to end up being someplace in Mexico.
All right. Okay. And that, I mean, a lot of people are headed to Mexico. And again, I don't know what that looks like down the road because so many people are headed to Mexico.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
because it's not just us.
It's not
Okay.
just us, it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
and yeah, a lot of stresses and a lot of pressures on that country. That's important. And, that's one of the reasons that I put a lot of effort into, not a lot, put some effort into learning Spanish, because I want to be respectful and appreciative of the
Mhm.
culture. And I want to be able to communicate with the locals um, comfortably enough to understand the the tone of interaction between us, right? Am I getting a negative vibe or a resentful vibe because they're just feeling too pressured by all the other newcomers in their area?
Yeah.
Or is it positive? What is that feel? I want to be able to get that. And I think it's difficult to get that accurately if you have no idea how to communicate with that person in their own expressive terms.
Yes. It's I was just saying the other day, well, who was that Sunday night, that there's some key words to say is like lo siento, no habla, or un poco hablo español. I know I'm still butchering it, guys, but they get it when I say it, so leave me
They
alone.
get it.
But
Yeah. You may
but
sound like a toddler, but still you're getting
yeah,
across.
yes, and so I'm able to express that, and if I ask
Mhm.
them if they speak in English, and again, I say it humbly. I'm not coming in there like with neck rolling, like you speak English,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know. So and because I'm sure that they do have
Mhm.
quite a few that will come there like it's like why don't you, and I've seen it posted in some groups about why don't you speak English. It's like you are not even in the United States now,
Right.
shut
You are not
up.
in an English speaking country. That is why they're not speaking English. Like,
Yes, so
what
just
part
to
of
be
that did you
gracious,
miss? Yeah.
yes, just to be gracious about it is
Yeah.
extremely important. So
Mhm.
what is the allure of Asia?
You know, my grandfather was in the
What
Merchant
parts did you say?
Marines. Huh?
Okay.
Thailand in
What parts?
particular.
Okay.
Thailand in particular. And then, of course, there's lots, Cambodia, Laos, the whole peninsula, Malaysia.
Okay.
I want to just kind of explore all of that. And I think my mom wanted to take a trip to Asia at one point. I got a call and she said, "Would you want to travel with me?" And I like, travel? Yes. Like, where are we going? And she wanted to go because her father had gone and brought back to the family a number of neat gifts, a beautiful carved trunk that she had that perished in Katrina, and a few other items like that he had brought back over his years in the Merchant Marines. And so I think it's always fascinated her. So when we went together, I was just blown away by the art in the temples, never mind outside. The buildings themselves are amazing to see, but the artwork inside on the walls, the sculptures, and the painting, it just blew me away. And we only had like a day and a half in Bangkok. That was it. And it's like,
Wow.
why is this not like 5 out of my 10 days on
Yeah, I
these?
see that a lot whenever like people are like they're trying to like hit up all the spaces and they're like, oh, we have 2 days here, or like they'll do like one day in Madrid, and I'm like,
No,
it's not enough time.
no, no,
But I
no.
get that they're trying to because they have to go back to work and they're just trying to get, but you don't have time to really just sit down and feel it.
Yes.
and
And
experience it and enjoy the true beauty of it all. Yeah.
right, to really soak it in and to develop enough familiarity with it that you can start to see the distinctions. Because I'm sure that there were some important differences between the artwork that I saw in one temple versus in another temple. They may be trying to tell a similar story, or maybe even the very same story, but it was two different artists, two different styles, and I don't know enough to even recognize what's different.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think I know how I'm following the story, but I don't know the actual text of the story. You know, there's just so much depth that was possible to understand that, and I could only skim the surface, right? I would
Yeah.
like to explore that depth. But you know, we were handed kind of a standard vacation package, like honeymoon custom couple. You know,
And the
where you
tour
get
guide is like, hurry up and take a picture and let's go.
and
Okay.
yeah, they're trying to hustle you to make sure that you get to everywhere they're supposed to get you.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but the tour guide that we had was wonderful, helped us beautifully from airport to in town to exploring to airport again, right? Took care of us the entire way. It was lovely experience. I got to go back. I mean, I said it then, I've been saying it for the last 20 years. I got to go back. And now I'm close to being able to do that.
So, what is your hopeful exit time that you're looking at making this possible move to Mexico and then maybe over to Thailand? We're going to Vietnam in February.
Going, I know. It's like, do I
I'm
do
speaking,
that
I'm
or
like, oh
do I
God.
go to the Panama visit, right? Because Panama's,
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
that's another opportunity where I could land someplace and not be too far from the US in case dad needs me to show up unexpected, you know, like, there's so many opportunities. I am looking at October of next year.
Okay. Okay.
I think I want to get through to October of next year. That gives me a notch further into being able to apply for Social Security if I decide to do it at that point. And I will be able to, I'm just using that year, this upcoming year, to really get my finances in order. Um, I when I have to count down to the penny, I can, but I haven't had enough of a grip on what I'm going to need to be able to feel comfortable budgeting. Now, I think this is the year that I get down to starting to count how much, all the way down to the penny, what's in this account, what's in that account, and how much more do I need to feel
Okay.
comfortable that I've addressed, you know, this or that contingency. When the contingencies are covered, and I'm going to be lining up house sits, right? I'm gonna try to do what you
That's what I
did.
was going to ask you. That's
Yeah,
exactly. I was like, are you going to try to like pet sit or house sit around
I hope
there?
to do that. Yes, yes. And you know, I one of the things I learned is that I don't. I didn't apply this to house sitting when I first started, pet sitting in specific, but I've
Mhm.
already learned through the recent years is that I don't really like everybody's pet. I like
Okay.
animals in general, but it's not certain animal behaviors. It's like, no, I'm not, I don't want to have to put up with that. Right. So I've got to be careful what I set myself up for. If I say I'm going to take a month-long sit, but the animal has a behavior that I can't tolerate, I'm either going to have to work with that animal and teach it how to interact with me, or I'm just going to have to learn to tolerate, or I need a different house sit. I need to just
Yeah.
pay my way through that week or that month until I can find another house sit, right, that is more suitable. But I am bound and determined that's going to be the way I do it, because that I cannot imagine putting $1,000 a week into just the roof over my head and the space to sleep. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
And yes, I know that you have to get ready to go, but the this coming
Yeah.
Sunday, actually, I am interviewing Melanie, who right now is in New Zealand on a pet
Oh,
sit.
nice. Yes.
So when I say that people do it, that we know how to do it, we know how to do it, and it's
Yes.
not just we're not talking about just accepting some pet sit because it's in that area. You still have to vet the possible pet owner and the pets
Mhm.
when you're doing the interview. And I have some
Yes.
videos. I have a playlist about pet sitting. If you subscribe to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. But I actually have a whole playlist of things that you need to consider when pet sitting. And I also have another one in that playlist that is specifically to pet owners to tell them,
Nice.
kind of like what they need to consider and what is proper etiquette Okay. When you
Yes.
are asking somebody to take care of your home and your pet.
That is
Okay.
so valuable. That is so valuable. People, get to those playlists. It's hugely important. It really is. It's the stuff you don't know. And the thing that I found is that I don't know enough to recognize what I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
I'm at that early stage where I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Until it
that
happens
plays
and
it.
you're like, oh, I didn't like that experience. Oh, that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that, Yes.
Yeah.
Little things, little nuances that you just still, I mean, even now, even though I have I think I have about 40 pet sits now,
Wow.
but I'm still learning. There's always something new, new to learn. Without a doubt, there's always something new to learn. Um,
Yes.
Monica, I know that you have to go. So I did want to just say again, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me and talking about some of the options, some of the real true options of slow travel and house sitting and
Yeah.
understanding what works best for you. And this will not be the only time that I talk about this particular subject about house sitting and slow travel and understanding your options because again what my journey looks like and what Monica's journey looks like may not be the path that you're going to take. So I want to
Mhm.
talk to other women, women of color who are doing the same thing, but maybe just doing something a little differently. So
Yes.
again, make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you like this video. Wish me luck tomorrow when I go hang out with some locals here with the Internations group.
Mhm.
And and thank you so much for your time, Monica. Oh,
Thank
and do you
you.
have any? I'm sorry. Please do tell us how to reach you on the social medias, on the
On the social
interwebs.
media, well, I am Monica Moline in the Exodus Summit community. And I have a YouTube channel that I'm just starting and just putting in thoughts about, different aspects of life that occurred to me that I've talked with friends about. And one of the things that I'm preparing to offer people is the opportunity to talk about the roadblocks that they're experiencing. One of the things that I like to do is refer back to that story I was telling you about, not even considering the possibility that I could do a mental shift and suddenly have a whole new set of opportunities open to me. There are all kinds of little mini
In your life.
roadblocks we don't even recommend, that we don't know, right? And so that's why I chose the name Release Your Life, because I'm trying to release my life, and I'm hopeful that I can help others do the same. It takes an outside perspective. Like when you're in your own fishbowl, somebody's got to look from the outside in to point out to you, oh, you know what? Here's a different path that you could take. You can come out of that fishbowl and into a different context. And so I'm working on that with my channel, Release Your Life. So it's a YouTube channel. And
Okay.
if you just do at Release YL, that is
Okay.
how you can find it. I think if that doesn't work, then I need to find out. I'll check back with the comments on this. If somebody
It'll
said,
be down
Monica,
in
that
the
didn't work.
description.
Right.
It'll be down in the description.
Awesome.
We got you. Okay,
Thank
well,
you so
thank you
much.
so much. And hey, hold on. Make sure that again, guys, and also get on the mailing list. So down there in the description is the mailing list, and you want to get on my email subscription list. Why? Because I do have some big plans coming up in Spain, and if you're interested in bopping around, either a relocation journey or just bopping around and putting Spain on your list, I have an all-inclusive experience that I'm curating just for you. Anyways, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Hold on,
Thank
Monica.
you.